All right, today in this video I'm going to be showing you how to perform the barbell bench press. Now this is a very simple exercise, but it has a complicated setup. So the first thing that you want to consider is your foot position. You want to place your feet as wide as possible and try to get it as back as possible while ensuring that your heels remain pressed in the ground, because that's going to keep your glutes nice and tight. And most of the drive is going to be coming from your feet basically. The second thing that you want to consider is how far, how wide you want to be placing your hands. Now, as a generic rule of thumb, a test for that would be try to keep your shoulders fixed, try to keep your shoulders nice and back, and see how deep you possibly can go without any weight, and try to experiment with different stances. In my case, I can go all the way down while ensuring that my hands are like 2 hand spaces away from my shoulder width. Now for some people it might be way too wide, for some people it might be way too narrow. That's the second thing that you want to consider. The third thing that you want to consider is how forward or how backwards you want to be. Well, as a generic rule of thumb, if you're starting this particular exercise, you want the bar to be directly above your eyes so that when you clean the bar up, it directly comes in front of your chest and you can start off the movement if you're doing this by yourself. So putting it all together, it's going to look a little something like that. You want to keep your torso nice and arched. I'm sticking to the stance which lets me get the maximum range of motion. As you can see, the bar is directly above my eyes. I press it up. I get the bar a little forward, keep my torso nice and arched. I think of pulling the barbell towards my chest and while keeping my chest out. Pause for like a second. That's how we perform the barbell bench press. Now the important thing that you want to consider is, like, let's say if you're holding the barbell right here, when you go down, a lot of people will have a tendency to to collapse their elbows, to collapse their shoulder, basically. No, you always want to keep your elbows directly in line with the barbell, because that's going to ensure that your elbow joint is directly stacked above your wrist joint, thereby sharing the weight of the bar, basically. And that's how we perform the barbell bench press.